some well-known bands, and it's already starting. You can't, no, you can't come in. You can't come in right now. Right now, we're trying to. We're gonna still do this in one cut, hopefully.
Hey, and welcome to a Thursday Collection Connection, where we're playing that game. It's just an excuse to talk about records. I play the game with my brother, Plastic Eric, from the Plastic Soundwave Cult, who just recently got a shout out from Robert Fithen in his recent video, and that resulted in a bunch of new subscribers for him, which is very cool. And yours truly, one more subscriber for me. But he was more specifically shouting out my brother's channel. He talked about a little bit about how the game works, but I'm not really a VC guy. I don't hang out on the streams and communicate with a lot of people. But hopefully we'll get some new viewers. That would be fantastic and fun. So anyway, in Eric's last video, he showed Fear, the record. That was kind of what you would expect for punk. I guess they're the punks that could play, at least according to band leader Lee Ving. Lee Ving, the leader of Fear, was of course immortalized by John Denver, who wrote a song about that time that he was on a jet plane. And so that's pretty exciting. And Eric mentioned what would have been a great connection, the fact that they were banned from SNL. And he mentioned also in his video the most memorable other band from SNL musician, who was Sinead O'Connor. I looked up a bunch more, thought about doing it, even though we try and avoid, generally speaking, making a connection from a thing that each other mentions in the video, just because that feels a little bit lame, like they're doing the heavy lifting for you. But I did look up a list. And once again, I could have gone almost with Elvis Costello, who was banned. His ban was eventually lifted, but he was verboten on the show for about 12 years. And bands like System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, also had sort of disastrous performances, but I decided not to do that. And I thought about the fact, mentioning that Lee Ving was the only constant member. I try to think of other bands that only had one consistent member from the outset to present day, or whenever it was that they quit. And oddly, on that list would have been Evan Dando from the Lemonheads, which I did just a couple weeks ago. I didn't find anything real satisfying there either. And so what I zeroed in on was the fact that not a single track on the Fear album was over 2 minutes and 45 seconds long. In fact, I think it doesn't even quite bump that. I think the longest is about 2:39 or something like that. Now, I know that that's how it just was once upon a time. I don't know that Buddy Holly ever wrote a 3-minute song in his short life. But it seemed like maybe kind of as Beatles songs got longer, kind of through the 60s, that songs in general sort of got longer. And while it's certainly unremarkable to have a song that runs under 3 minutes, to have every single song on your album run under 3 minutes, or indeed 2 minutes 45 seconds, is notable. And of course, that's what punk brought back to some degree. Just short, punchy, to the point songs. Even then, I think like the Sex Pistols record had songs that were 3 minutes and longer. I think the Clash did as well. May be wrong. I looked up a bunch of records just to see. And while the songs certainly trended short, there would always be one or two outliers. Even the first They Might Be Giants record, They Might Be Giants famously having very short songs, had one song that topped out right at the 3-minute mark. And so I looked to see if I could find anything where every song on the album was 2:45 or less. What I came up with, somewhat unsurprisingly, was another punk band. In this case, a much happier, poppier punk band who wasn't trying to piss anybody off. They're mostly just trying to get laid, I think. And they are the pride of Derry in Northern Ireland. And they are the Undertones. I went with their self-titled debut from 1979. The original release, which was in, I think, May 1979, definitely, I think the longest song there was maybe 2:43, something like that. Interestingly, they were signed to Sire Records, and maybe because Sire was an American label, they quickly repressed the record in December of 79, that same year, adding on the early singles, Teenage Kicks and Get Over You. Get Over You toes the line right at 2:45, but they're still short tracks. This is a really awesome debut record. Their clearest inspiration in a way, they sound to me like the Irish Ramones, in that Ramones played loud, fast, punchy guitar punk, but they didn't sound nearly as angry. You know, they seemed like they had a bit of a sense of humor. And these guys, weirdly, Feargal Sharkey, who was the probably the most famous member, the singer, who went on to a solo career, was not, he did not write any of these tracks. They were written by, going off the top of my head, the O'Neill brothers. This band was formed by two brothers named O'Neill, and the oldest one, Victor or Vincent or something like that, actually left the band before they did anything, and then a younger brother from the same family joined instead. And so he was, along with maybe one other person, still a literal teenager when this album came out. And it's just a lot of raucous fun, you know, Teenage Kicks. I know Eric knows My Perfect Cousin. I think that's his favorite Undertone song. But I don't know if he knows. I was not familiar. This is not something that I've had for years and years and years. I think I was inspired. Maybe there were some undertones on sort of a punk compilation that I have called No Thanks. And I got just a bug up my ass, bee in my bonnet, something, some metaphor, some idiom about listening to some more undertones. And so I kind of on a whim bought their debut, and it's great, man. It's a great record. It's a lot of fun. I do remember the Undertones from the time when they were making the records in the 70s, end of the 70s and early into the 80s. They made about 4 albums, I think, before packing it in, before Feargal Sharkey left. And his vocals are so singular, sort of. He's got this warble of a voice that when he kind of went into a more crooning style, it was almost grating on me later. But as he's hollering out vocals, and again, like the Ramones, the rest of the band does a lot of shouting of backing vocals. Yeah, it's just a terrific record. I've since bought the 4th of their albums. So I don't have the album that has My Perfect Cousin on it, but I got the Sin of Pride. These are the 2 that I have. And this particular edition was a 30th anniversary edition. And the original album doesn't have a song over 2 minutes and 45 seconds. This one has, I think, one, and I think it's Let's Talk About Girls, that maybe goes over 30 minutes, or 3 minutes, I should say. And this is one of the few occasions, this bumped a 14-track original LP up to 32 tracks, so more than double the tracks. And this is one of the few times where this particular edition, nicely remastered, so it's super punchy and very energetic. And all the songs, they put Teenage Kicks and Get Over You back onto bonus tracks, along with a ton of other songs. Mars Bars, which is really great. She Can Only Say No. But all through here is just great poppy, punky songs from a bunch of guys, 5 guys, who are more concerned with getting laid than they were with abolishing the system. And just a lot of fun. I think if Eric doesn't know this album, I'm wagering he would enjoy it quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. Great stuff out of Northern Ireland, which I don't think we've done a band out of Northern Ireland up to this point. It's the Undertones from 1979, their debut album. And I'll throw that over to Eric, and you can look for his response on Monday on his channel, The Plastic Soundwave Cult, with his glut of new subscribers. And so we'll see how this does post shout out, but I'm looking forward to good things. So that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.